What do you guys want to know about mindset, in particular relating to what?
So I guess for me, it's, I shared this with Drew yesterday and kind of went through a bit of it, but it's like, so I have some fears or, negative beliefs or blocks that are making me procrastinate, right? Taking action on the things that I need to do. And I find, on a daily basis, these fears, it's like the fears, the beliefs, the negative beliefs are causing me to procrastinate on the things that I know I should do. So I find other things to do.
Okay.
Right. So, and so I think it's addressing these negative beliefs and overcoming them so then I can just have that belief to take the actions to, that'll progress me towards my goals faster.
Okay.
Right. So I think that's the main thing for me.
Fears and negative beliefs leading to procrastination?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then so overcoming that, and then having that belief in myself that I can do it. And so I don't know, holding that, like Drew and I were talking, and it's like holding that vision of yourself, achieving the goals. And some of the videos that you've been doing recently, I haven't watched them all, to be honest, but about, the desired state, coming from that desired state of the wish fulfilled or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And then holding that emotion, that energy, and operating from there. So like keeping that vision alive and then staying in those feelings and then operating from that with, which changes the nervous system, which changes your beliefs, and then it obviously changes your actions and behaviors,
right?
Which changes your results.
Okay.
So staying in that and how to create that simply and be in that state as much as possible all day long so that you're operating from positive beliefs instead of negative and fear. Right?
Cool.
So that's the main thing for me, I think.
So there is something that in my conversation with the boys last night, I had to look at myself in the mirror this morning a little bit about, I don't want to necessarily call it imposter syndrome, but I woke up this morning with this thought of, I teach positivity, and I believe in shifting the mindset. I believe everything that I say, right? Yeah. And yet in talking to the boys last night, I kind of had this like, damn, I sound angry. Like, damn, I sound bitter.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And there's a part of me that does feel like if I'm teaching all these positive things and yet there's something within me that's conflicting with that. Even though I'm all things, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want people to think that I'm having a double standard of some sort, preaching one thing, even though I believe it. I believe in everything that I say, and yet there is something within me that clearly needs to be worked out.
Yeah.
That's contrary to what I teach.
Okay.
Does
totally.
That question make sense?
Okay. Totally does. Anything else?
So I bought this book and I was reading it on the plane here, and it's Bob Proctor's book, Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life. And so paradigm, self-image, whatever, it's all the same, right? Identity, whatever you want to call it, subconscious mind. But so from that book, like he says in there, he specifically says lawyers, engineers, and accountants are very left-brained and logical-minded.
Yeah.
And, so they try to analyze, and they're intellectual, and they, try to make sense of things. But but that is not what's going to actually make that shift in your paradigm or your self-image or whatever. It's your emotions, your right brain, and all that, and it's not logical. And so that's where I tend to get stuck, because I am left-brained. I am an engineer, and it's like, I'm trying to logical analyze things, whereas I know well enough that, like, from all the reading and whatever, is that it's got to be like an emotional, visceral, physiological change, not a logical. I can't logic my way through it. I got to emotion my way through it.
Okay.
And so that's kind of the shift, the block, and I tend to go to the left brain, not the right brain. You know what I mean? And so that emotion, and I know that's the answer. I know that's the key. And he goes, a lot of logical left brain, trained people are like that. But once they get it, they able to do the right brain, the emotional stuff, then they're like fucking, And to be quite honest, that was one of the big reasons I wanted to be part of this mastermind. And, knowing that you have that left brain, that engineering mind like I do, and you were able to make that shift. So it's not, and I feel like that's the key, right? Because it's, once you get those beliefs, that emotion, etc., everything else is easy. The strategies, the tactics, all that shit is fucking simple. Yeah. If you can fucking make that shift. You know what I mean? And you get that belief, then the rest of it's easy. Like, okay, put up a fucking YouTube video, put some keywords, and keep fucking doing it. Right? Like that strategy shit and tactics are easy.
That's true.
I believe. You know what I mean? This is the main reason. I'm like, that's why I joined, because I was like, all the strategies and the tactics and all that shit. Like, this is the 7-figure bliss model. Right? Sam teaches the same model, but you got the mindset stuff, and you're an engineer, and you figured out how to do that mindset stuff. So if you can help me make that shift.
And Quazi has a great beard.
Yeah, it's fucking fantastic. And he's got friggin' hair and all that shit. Fucking kiddo body.
All right.
So anyway, that's
these two.
Shift. Yeah.
So nothing apart from these, right? Like,
make that shift.
Let's begin with that. So all of these stem from an underlying belief that somehow you're not good enough and you're damaged, right? Like you guys are believing that I need something fixing. Something needs to be fixed inside of me so that I can go out and fix these problems and do this. So you're beginning with like a base layer assumption of I am damaged, I need to be fixed. And you believe that because you're seeing outside of you some like standard in society of other people doing something, or you're looking at me, or you're looking at someone else, you're like, oh, how is he doing it? Why can he do that? And then you put that standard on a pedestal. You put that on a pedestal, and then you measure yourself up against that. And if I have an apple and an orange, and the apple looks at the orange and it's like, orange, everyone must be orange, the apple's gonna feel inadequate all the time, right? So that's what, like, everyone has, when you touch something that it's hot because you have a reference point of what's hot and what's cold. You have a temperature on your skin right now. That's like, when you get rid of that reference point, I promise you're going to be successful. Like, then you learn to follow your own path and own who you are, and you begin to see yourself as perfect. So from now on, you've got to see yourself as, this is the standard. This is perfect already. How can I get even better? And that kind of self-confidence comes with you sticking to your word and challenging yourself to do things, and getting out of your comfort zone and doing things that you don't like to do. Then the confidence will naturally build up, and you'll start to see yourself as perfect. This might sound egotistical. I look at myself as perfect.
Yeah.
I look at myself, I'm like, I'm fucking perfect. I'm the shit. Like, I have no doubt. And then if someone else comes in like, no, that's not perfect. This is already good. But then I have to balance that out by humbling myself. Like, hey, there's always something to learn. There's always something to make better. But this doesn't mean that you're not perfect, right? So that's how the logical left brain works when you're talking about. It's like, oh, well, if I'm perfect, then everything else is bad. No, not necessarily, right?
I can be perfect, you can be perfect.
Exactly.
We can all be perfect.
Exactly. So that's more like a like you have to learn to manipulate your psychology in a way where you don't see the world as black or white. It's black and white. There is always, everything is a gray area. There is no absolute truth. We're always near the truth. Nothing is like, there's no dogma. It's not one way or the other. There's multiple ways of doing things. Yeah. But then that helps you ingrain the assumption that I'm getting there. That thing that I want, it's already going to happen. It's just a matter of like, can I enjoy this process? Can I stick to it? How fun can I make it? Like when I've been stuck, I've been trying to get to like more than like 300K a month in the past two and a half years. Mm-hmm. And I've been stuck for the past 2.5 years. Mm-hmm. Would you believe that? I've been stuck. Like, you look at me, you're like, oh, he's stuck. Like, yeah, I've been stuck. but I'm still figuring it out, right? I don't like, I'm like, what else am I going to do? Might as well stick to it and try to figure it out, right? I know I'm going to get there. It's going to happen, but I'm just learning lessons and things along the way.
So saying that you're stuck right now, how do you keep that faith and belief in yourself that, you know, you're not a loser, you're never going to get there, you know, those negative self-talk, thoughts? How do you not have that, knowing that you're at your certain income level and you haven't reached where you want to be? There's the gap, right? So
Well, it's like, this is what I learned from like playing golf, because it's like one round you play really well, next round you play terrible. But your self-image can't be tied into that. It doesn't matter if you play terrible or well, your self-image is independent of that. When I play well, that is my potential. When I don't play well, that is an exception. You know what I mean? The regular is I'm perfect, everything is going well. Oh, this is just an anomaly. I don't even, like, that's how you like make your focus, you ignore it. You know, it happens, it had to happen. I learned some lessons from it, but this is an exception. And if it keeps happening, then these exceptions keep happening, something good is about to come. You become biased with your psychology, right? Like we only focus on what we want to focus on. Our attention is only on what we want to see. And that's what we keep feeding.
So how do you keep that mindset and not become egotistical? You know
you just need to find the balance. Like, you have to first be egotistical. First be egotistical, and then when you figure out, you'll get feedback from your environment that you're being too egotistical and you're getting you're getting too inflated with your ego. Once you get that feedback, then you can dumb yourself down.
And another thing is like when you know you're coming from a pure loving place, you can give yourself the permission to be egotistical because you're not actually trying to hurt people. You're just trying to fucking make everybody's lives better. Does that make sense? Like, you're never going to put yourself in a position where you actually hurt other people. Yeah. Like, you have to know that about yourself. Like, you're a loving human being. You're not a fucking psychotic. So you can actually be egotistical. And by you being egotistical, you help everybody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, the example that comes to mind for me is like when, in 2018, when I was doing...
I think it picks it up.
When I was doing, like, you know, I did the best I'd ever done in real estate. And you know, as part of this mastermind, like coaching program in real estate, and there was like these huge agents in it and stuff, and so I got the energy from them and what have you, and I was like, I can do this, so I did it, and when that happened, my wife was like, yeah, I didn't like you then. You know, it's like the negative feedback she gives me, because she's like, yeah, you know, you were just like...
My wife tells me that all the time.
Yeah, so how do you...
She's like, you're an asshole. You're cocky. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I am.
She fucking loves it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
fuck yeah.
You're cocky.
That's why you can fucking eat today, because I can do all this shit. That's why you're enjoying the life that you're living and you're not working. You know, like that's how I think about it. Like, you have everything you have because I can be cocky and I can be an asshole. People are always going to try to, like, especially like women will do that because that's like their natural way. Because women feel threatened when a man will be like a little more alpha. Yeah. Because they feel like the woman's job is to take an alpha and make him like a house husband kind of deal. Yeah. When she can't do that, this is like a biological thing, by the way. It's just like men can't listen. Men tune out certain frequencies for women. Like when you get married, women will take an alpha and try to like ground him.
Why though?
Because like the man needs to be grounded to a certain level, or else his ego takes him out of the world. Right. So this is the balance, the yin and the yang. So that's why like...
So it's their job to pull us back.
To bring you back to earth.
That's not necessarily what they want, because they want us to go out and fucking hunt and kill.
Yeah, they do, but at the same time, they don't want you to think that you can do better than them. That is their subconscious fear. That is their deepest fear. Because if they see you get too cocky and you get too egotistical, they're going to think you can go out and like get with any woman. Yep. You know, you can have your pick of the flock, you know? Yeah. So you have to reassure them like, hey, I know I'm being this way, but trust me, this is how I need to be in order to do what I want to do, to provide. This is who I'm choosing to be. It's a choice. You don't get fazed by that stuff. You can't get fazed by your woman, you know? You set the frame in the house. You're the man of the house. And she wants you to do that, by the way. She keeps, like all of these things she's doing, she's throwing shit tests at you. Yeah. She's giving you a shit test. She's trying to test your frame to see if you'll break. If you're a true alpha, you won't break, you know? And then she's going to respect that. She's like, oh, okay. Whatever he says goes. And women love that, you know? They love a man who can lead them. Like, how comforting is it to have someone who can lead you? You want to be in their arms all the fucking time, right?
We talked about this like crazy yesterday.
Last night.
Yeah, it's just a male-female dynamic. You can't let your woman bring you down. You'll get demasculated. She wants you to become stronger. She's throwing these tests at you so that you become stronger through them.
I learned that in that course. But we'll tell you guys about. That's exactly it. Women test you. Just explore this a little deeper. So when your wife tests you, then how do you respond, or how do you
I don't get phased. It's like, okay, that's cool. Great.
You say okay.
Yeah. And then she'll get pissed, like, why are you acknowledging me? Well, I don't like what you're saying. I don't like what you're saying, so I'm not acknowledging it. Like, that's what it is. If I like what you're saying, I'll acknowledge it, but if you're telling me, if you're attacking me, and you're trying to bring me down, I'm not interested. Just like when other people give you shit. There's always going to be that. So I always look at those as like making me mentally stronger. It's like when I got into that, my business from my 9 to 5, my dad was like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm doing it. I don't care what you say. Or else I'm going to live life in regret for the rest of my life because I listened to you. But I know I needed that to make me stronger, to get my conviction up. Yeah.
You need what, sorry?
The criticism from others, to keep testing me, to keep throwing those tests at me to make me stronger. You can't let those things make you doubt yourself. You got to take those things and make you strengthen your faith in what you want.
She still brings that up, like 2018. Oh, I don't want you to make all this money.
Well, it makes sense why you're.
Well, you know what? Then that's the thing though. Like she has a subconscious fear. She has a subconscious fear, maybe stemming from her past, that she's projecting onto you.
Yeah,
that's entirely possible.
100% from her past, because of her parents' situation.
There you go. Then
Dad went out and fucking crushed it.
Yeah.
He was like a traveling salesman, did exporting from Hong Kong and this, that, and fucking, lived the life and, made all millions. And then, she was at home raising the kids, and he controlled all the money and this, that. And so my wife was like,
but that's nothing. That's not bad, unless he was like cheating on her and like doing some weird shit.
Well, I don't know. But for the most part, he's a good man. You know what I mean? And like,
so you have to like reassure her, like, hey, that's sometimes who I need to be to own my masculine dynamic. You have to help me feed that. You have to be my woman. Yeah. The problem nowadays in society is that women are trying to be the man and the woman in the relationship. They're trying to wear the pants and the skirt. Yeah. And that just won't work. But there's different dynamics in relationships, by the way. There's like a more submissive man and a more masculine woman. That works. There's a clear polarity and the yin and yang matches. But in a majority of the sense, it's mostly the man who's the more masculine and the woman who's more feminine. I couldn't be with a masculine woman, like a woman with more masculine energy, because I'm too masculine. I have too much of an. It would be clashing all the time. So that's why my wife is more introverted. She's more shy, reserved, submissive. I'm more like extroverted, outwards, more like analytical. She's more feeling. So she balances me out. It works perfectly.
Right.
Yeah, but then we clash sometimes because we have differing ideologies, but we learn to balance it at the end of the day. Yeah.
So that's the wife dynamic. But how do you, on a daily basis, what do you do? Like, is there an exercise or something, that you do to keep that positive belief?
Hang out with good people. That's all you can do. Hang out with more positive people. Hang out with dudes like who are more like they're crushing it. Then you can keep that energy alive.
Like visualization or anything like that.
I just always think about what I want and who I'm becoming.
Affirmations, like that.
No, I don't do any of those anymore. I just visualize, like before falling asleep. I look at like what I want my life to be like what I told you in the call. Just that assumption of what I want to see ultimately. Because all of the things that we do, it's all like, it all usually, when you get started off in mindset, it comes from a place of scarcity. You're like, oh, I am this, come on, please, I am this, please, I'm confident. You're just trying to convince yourself of something you don't really believe or see. So it all becomes like an act of like rebellion against your old self, which then strengthens the old self. So these are all stories that we tell ourselves, by the way. Like the story you're telling yourself that you have some negative beliefs and some fears. The moment you admit that, you are like admitting that this is the reality and this is what's causing me to procrastinate. Unless I solve this, I'm not going to get anywhere. It's a story you're telling yourself.
Right.
When you stop saying that story anymore and you just say, you know what, fuck, let's just go and do it. I'm sick and tired of being stuck. The moment you get sick and tired of being stuck in this situation and the pain is so strong, you just say, fuck it, I have nothing to lose. Let's just go out and fucking do it. I'm not going to be on my deathbed thinking, what would have happened? What if I did this, you know?
Yeah.
That's the only way to, it's always an empowered decision. It's always that decision, that resolve you have behind your decision that makes you go out and do what you need to do and have what you want to have. Right? In reality transurfing, he talks about like outer intention. It's the resolve that you have to have something, not do something. Inner intention is the resolve you have to do something in order to have. Outer intention is just the resoluteness in your decision to have. When you say that I will have this, that's it. There is nothing more to it. You say you will have a 7-figure business, that's it. There's nothing more to it. You don't need to justify why you need to have it. You don't need to justify even who you need to become to have it. It is just a given. It is just going to happen. And all of those other things that we talk about, the identity, and they all supplement that. But at the end of the day, it fundamentally boils down to how resolute you are in this decision that you've made. How unwavering you are. Now you might be asking, how do I get unwavering? You get to that point where you're so fucking sick and tired of experience, like Grant Cardone did, right? Like he got to a place where he just did drugs and his life was a fucking mess. He's like, fuck this, no more. No more. I will not have this. What do I want instead? I will have that. I don't care how, I will have it. It doesn't matter how. You just make a decision and you will have it.
It's a decision, but then after the decision, it's also coordination to make sure that you don't, you know?
Sure. But it's still keeping that coordination, is still keeping that decision alive.
Right. And how to keep that when you're by yourself, when you don't see the confirmations in your life.
Just fucking go back to that place where you made that decision and why you did it in the first place. You know that feeling that you had? You're like, I'm sick and tired. Yeah. You go back to that feeling and you made that decision. Yeah. And every day that's that why, right? That's the live. Like, why did I get started in the first place? Did I want to live a fucking mediocre existence? That's my why, right? If I wanted to live a mediocre existence, I should have gone back to, my engineering job. Yeah. Why the fuck am I doing this? What do I want? Oh, that's what. It's just keeping that alive. And then, comes the assumption that, hey, I'm living in this ideal scene. I wake up in the morning, I'm visualizing that ideal scene. I'm looking at what life is like when I have that, who I am being, who do I talk to, how do I talk to them, etc. Yeah, it's like when you get too logical, you give yourself too many conditions. You're like, but if I have that, then this needs to happen and that needs to happen. Fuck all of that. Nothing needs to happen. You can just have it because you chose it. There is enough for everyone. You can have that just solely because you are the child of God and you chose it. That's how you need to see yourself. Like you literally need to see yourself as like children of the ultimate. Like you are the human being. Like you have this great power inside of you. And you get to choose anything that you want. Like you have to literally see, I'm spoiled. I can literally have anything I want. That's how I view myself. I'm like, I literally am spoiled. Like when I look at my life, I'm like, dude, I'm so fucking spoiled. Right. Anything that I wanted happened. Like you have to start looking at it as that. Like when you look into your past and where you are today, you have to see it as that. Like I can literally have anything I want. Look at where I am today.
So I do have a question about that because this conversation is really resonating with me because I've typically, when I've reached a certain level of success in life, it's come from that breaking point of just fuck it, let it all burn, right? Mm-hmm. And no looking back. But then when I have time to just sit and have a conversation and think, and it's just like, what fueled me a lot of the time was that anger. And I reached at high levels because I was angry or because I was fed up or because I was at that breaking point. So success has come as a result of that. And yet in sitting back, maybe I just should not give myself the time to just sit back and think about it, right? And just constantly be in motion. But I don't want it to necessarily be fueled with anger, but at the same time, if that's what motivates me, okay, fine. But unresolved anger can eventually fester, right? It can eventually come with deeper effects if not dealt with.
You're not coming from a place of anger. The anger is just what propels the decision. But when you live in that ideal state, which is what we're doing, we're coming from a place of love and pure Like, I can have what I want. Everyone can have what they want. The world is abundant. That's coming from a purer place of love, right? We're not like angrily, because that's like a terrible way to go about and just do things.
Success.
Yeah, you're just burning yourself. You're like eating yourself up trying to. That's like pure force. That's like trying to achieve something through pure force. That's not what we're doing. Every single day, what we do what we love to do, or we look at what we love to do and what we have to do in the moment that's necessary for us to do. Mm-hmm. So we're still coming like a majority of the time from a place of love, a place of giving, a place of, hey, things will happen by themselves. But when you get to that point every day when you're like, you know, you're doubting yourself, etc. Like, why? Why did I get started in the first place? What do I have to lose? Like, just going back and thinking about those things that got you started here. What story, you know, am I trying to? What legacy am I trying to leave?
Those examples of success that you said that you achieved, like, was it like internal success or was it just success by other people's measures?
No, it was I guess internal.
What do you mean by that?
Like, for example, like when I moved out of my father's house at 20, and my father was like, you will not be welcome back if you step out that door, and when you fail, and I hope you do, you're not coming back. And so I was like, I guess that's what it's going to have to be. And I left, and I worked 2-3 jobs just to, like, it came out of a sense of survival. But as I was surviving and moving, it's like I was getting promotions, I was getting, you know, all these other things. So I don't think it was like when I won one of the highest awards you can get with Hilton Worldwide. I didn't care. I was working. I was surviving. I was doing what I had to do.
These are the stories you share on your YouTube, by the way. Like, don't even worry about who you're attracting. Just attract someone now. You know? Just like share these stories, and then you can refine them. Because when I got started off, I just shared everything. I wasn't holding back or trying to refine things. I was just trying to get people to watch. And that's what's going to get people interested. Because you need an audience before you can extract from an audience.
Right.
Yeah.
See, and for me, I think I didn't care who was watching. I just did. I just moved. I just excelled. I wasn't trying to. It was just, I just need to get shit done because I can't go back. I can't go back home. You know?
That was your why. So negative drivers are more.
There are only negative drivers.
Okay.
There is no such thing as a positive driver. Like, every core emotional driver at its fundamental comes from a place of, what do I want to avoid?
Boom.
And then you can channel it to what you want instead.
Okay.
That is a way of focusing the mind. When I began, I don't want to be mediocre. That's more painful. Yeah. Like, our biological conditioning is survival. What do I want to avoid? Death. Yeah. The desire to avoid death is stronger than the desire to live. It's just programming. That's just biology. We're just learning how to use our biology to move us and propel us to what we want, right?
And how do you break out of a comfort state?
Just do things that are uncomfortable. Change shit up. Change your routine up. Try new things. When I went to Puerto Rico, I didn't want to go ziplining or horseback riding. I didn't want to, like, last night stay up till like midnight picking up Bridget's sister. Because I could have easily gone to bed and come here even more refreshed than I am. But that's all right. I did something that's uncomfortable, you know?
Because think less about it. If you think too much about it, that's when the importance starts to build.
Yeah, when you dwell too much on something, you just think less and you just go ahead and do. Yeah. That's what Evan was talking about in the interview. He went from like 4K a month to 25K. He was reading a book. It's called Relentless. He was like, don't think, just do. Yeah, great. Don't even think. Like, I realize I talk a lot about like consciousness. Just do things consciously. But that gets you in your head a lot. Yeah. The best way to do it is to have like a conscious intention and react. Yeah. Yeah. Have a conscious intention of what you want and then just react. Because when you react, your subconscious is making all of these minute calculations. That's what I learned from golf, actually. It's like, what do I have? I have an intention to accomplish a task. And then I just let my subconscious do it. Because at that high speed, I can't like think about, I'm going to place my arm here and then do this and do that and send it there. Like, you can't do that. You just have to react. Your system is a genius. It is millions of years of evolution, right? It has a lot of information and we're all interconnected. We're just not tapping into it. but the information is there. And the way you get access to that information is by getting your conscious out of the way. There's a function the conscious has, which is placing the order. That's what we're doing. We're placing the order, we're making the intention. But then you've got to get out of the way so that the subconscious can materialize it. Instead of changing the order every time, doubting the order. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything that happens from this point, even the doubts that you have, these are meant to happen for you to get to your journey. Every single thought or doubt or fear that I have, this was meant to happen because something else is coming that's going to help me. This is all part of the plan. This is the destiny. Like whatever you want is the destiny. That is your predestined faith, what you want. Fate.
So what about more specific fears, right? So like, I was sharing with Drew last night. So like, so I've, had a track record and done well in my real estate business, but then what about like, kind of like Martina was talking about imposter syndrome, like who am I to coach other realtors or coach other men? Like who am I to like be able to like change their lives? And what if someone calls me on some shit and says,
dude,
well, you're fake.
Dude, how many other people have you met who've invested $30,000 in a fucking mastermind and have invested $10,000 in their personal development, in their skills and coaching? How many other people have done that? How big of balls do you need to do that? Like,
show that off.
I'm gonna add something.
You have to show that off. That you're here.
Like
There's very few people
like
that will do
the thing is like, when I got started off, I was like, who am I? This 22, 21-year-old dude sitting behind his computer, barely graduated, to coach these 40-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't think, you just do. Like, what's the problem that I can solve for them? You just look at their problems.
I heard this fucking act, bro.
I heard this phrase that like everything is a scam.
Everything is a scam.
Everything is a scam.
Straight up, bro.
Like everything is a scam.
Dude.
Because it's like you can do or be anyone you want.
Yeah.
There's no
Right.
limitation ever.
Yeah, everything is a scam.
Everything is just like conditioning.
Mastermind over.
So everything is a scam.
Yeah,
If you think
most
about that.
people are like, oh, your program is such a placebo. Like when other people look at it, I'm like, yeah, it is the biggest placebo. It's a fucking placebo.
Placebo, yeah.
But it's a placebo that gets you results, so I don't care.
Yeah.
If you give me a hollow pill that makes me change my beliefs, I'll fucking take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll own it. I don't care. Yeah.
I'm gonna say something that I just took away from this, and I hope that this helps you. I hope that it does. Instead of pointing at you and saying you, I'm gonna say me. I procrastinate and I make excuses and I do all these fucking questions because I can afford to. I'm in a very comfortable place in my life.
Yeah.
I can afford to be confused.
Yeah.
I can afford to play coach, or I can afford to play. But when I was in that point of survival, I didn't fucking think about anything.
You didn't think.
I just reacted and I just did. And I was just like, I don't give a fuck how you look at me. This
I have
is
no
what it
choice.
is. I have no choice. So
Yeah.
now, because I have the golden handcuffs and I'm sitting pretty in my little condo and bills are low and everything's kind of taken care of, I can afford to be afraid.
Yeah. That's a good point.
To double think. I can afford that because I'm not in the fucking deep end of the pool. I'm on the shallow side, just chilling. So I think, I'm going to speak for me, but I hope that you get something out of this. You're too fucking comfortable.
I agree.
Yep.
I totally get that.
So
We got a nice house. I got beautiful kids. Got a great wife. She makes money. Our bills are paid every single month.
Yep.
We got a line of credit. Like,
That's why when I look at it, I
good.
got there last year. I was like, I'm making 100 grand a month. I'm real comfortable. I have a guy taking care of everything. I'm playing golf all day. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, why do I?
So then how do you break out of that?
I realize what I'm doing. Like, I look at like the next 10, 20 years. Like, is this where I want to be? Like, do I want to stay stuck here for the rest of my life? Is this the mediocrity that I signed up for? Like, this is still mediocre. When you know your potential, everything is mediocre.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
But it's not that you're ungrateful and it's not good enough. Everything is good enough. If I died today, I would have zero regrets.
Yeah.
Really, like I wouldn't, if I died literally in this moment, no regrets at all. I would go happily, no problem. But since I'm living, I'm going to try my best to become and blossom into my best self. Why not? I'm going to try to push it to the limits because that's better than wasting a day and like just herping and derping around.
That belief that you can achieve that
No, fuck
10x
that.
of your
Because you're
life.
comfortable.
You know you
You're
can.
comfortable.
That's what I'm saying. Like, stop thinking about what beliefs you
Right.
need to create and what you need to do.
Yeah.
Just
Still doubt
just
how
fucking
capable you
react.
Right?
Make your decision and react.
If you want it, it's already a part of your potential, dude. If you can even like conjure up seeing yourself in the position you want to be in.
Like she said, all of those questions that you're thinking about, like, how do I get this belief? How do I keep this alive? These are just mental, like, constructs that you're making because you have the privilege to think. You have the privilege to be able to, like, spend some time and philosophize.
Fucking
Yeah.
mastermind.
Because I'm comfortable. All my bills are paid. This, that.
Yeah.
I'm like that.
But it doesn't mean you have to be uncomfortable. It's like when Grant Cardone talks about it, he's like, when I look at money in my bank account, I just empty it immediately. So I have an empty bank account to look at.
Right.
He just puts it away in like somewhere else. Like, fuck, I have nothing here. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
So different people have different ways of doing it. You just have to find out what like motivates you to keep going, what energizes you and what excites you. It's a combination of what do I want to avoid and what do I really love to do.
Well, I know what I really love to do, so that part's easy.
But you say you do doubt in your capabilities?
Yeah, because it's like, what if some coaching client that pays me calls me on it and goes, this doesn't work.
Well, you're not
I
going to
think-
be.
That's always going to happen. Like, there's no way to avoid that. That happens to me all the fucking time.
Yeah.
I have people 7 months later tell me, you're a scam, you're fake. That sucks. Do you want your money back? Yes.
Yeah, you're not going to be
There you
helping
go.
black belts.
Bye.
You help people who are just one belt below you. You don't have
That's
to,
literally it.
you
Like,
don't have to be a black belt to help a white belt. You just have to be a purple fucking belt.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just have to be a step forward. And you just have to be able to look at their problems and be like, can I, just honestly asking myself, can I help this person solve their
You're
problem?
not helping people's problems who you can't solve.
Yeah. So imposter syndrome comes because you have the privilege and time to think about yourself.
Yeah.
When you stop thinking about yourself and you just look at the person in front of you, there is no imposter syndrome because there is no you. There's just that person in front of you, right? It's like, can I solve this problem or can I not? You're reacting.
Yeah.
Like on the sales call, you're just reacting.
Yeah, another thing I feel like would help is just like looking at your track record. Like back in 2018 when you knew you had to step up, rise up, you fucking crushed it. This is what you do.
Yeah.
When you put your all in, you fucking crush it.
Yeah.
That's what So Hell does.
Yeah.
So when I get like a little lazy and I get like a little like unmotivated, I think about who I'm letting down. How many people have sacrificed what they did in order for me to get here today? Did they do that so I could live a mediocre existence and just, do this? Or did they do that so I could get to my... That's what motivates me, right? I think about my mom, my dad, my grandparents, what they all sacrificed so I could be here today. That's fucking powerful for me, right?
Yeah.
Is it?
Like these people, these people gave up their time. They saw me as like the golden boy. They believed in me. Day one. I'm not about to let them down. Fuck that. My wife, she looks up to me. Everyone's looking up to me. So that's like, you have to find out what motivates you,
Yeah.
It's like you have to become the hero of your story.
Yeah. So one thing I remember in 2018, what I did, right, was like, I basically doubled from 2017 to 2018. And we just had, like, we moved into a new house in January, February we had my daughter. Beginning of March, we're like, or February end of beginning of March, we unpacked everything. And then March 15th, I was like, fuck, I gotta go to work. I haven't done shit for friggin' 2.5 months.
Yeah.
I gotta go to work. And so then I was like, okay. And then so one thing I've learned about myself is that what motivates me and drives me, in one sense, is not money. It's not even the money.
It's never money.
It's recognition.
Yeah.
To feel love, to feel,
That's
like I did some shit, right? So
Yeah.
like Frederick Eklund, the guy from $1 Million Listing New York, he talks about this in his book. And he's like, he's all about like, I'm number one on the charts and this, that, and whatever. Whereas his partner was all about the money, getting the checks and depositing them and look forward to it. And so I kind of learned that. And I was like, yeah, who I am is like recognition. And so I made an affirmation for myself, which was like, I walk the stage as triple gold. I walk the stage as triple gold. And I used to play a song in the shower every morning.
Yeah.
And I used to say it to myself, and the song got the emotions going.
There's a
And I started to visualize me walking the stage,
Yeah.
getting the triple gold award,
Yeah.
which was 300 to 400K
Did you get
in
the
a
award?
year. I got the fucking award. and I freaking and
You got to do that shit again.
So it does, bro.
that's and you know, and so but the interesting thing was it happened fucking way faster than I could have had. Like, so from March 15th to end of June, 3.5 months, I made 350 grand in 3.5 months.
Damn.
Like, I fucking wrote all these deals, all this shit, and it just came to me.
Yeah.
From nowhere. Like, clients came to me. And
So you know what drives you.
Yeah.
You know what drives you now, and you can press your buttons. That's the power of self-awareness. That's all we need is self-awareness to know what pushes us.
Like, I visualized, I was singing, I walked the stage as triple
Yeah.
to this fucking house track, every morning in the shower, and I started to visualize it, what I looked like, what suit I was wearing, who I hugged, my broker, and the team leader, and getting this award, and seeing my name on the thing.
You made the assumption that it was going to happen, and it happened.
Yeah, and that fucking worked. And I did it in not a fucking 12 months. I did it in 3.5 months. And then when that happened, I wrote all these deals, and I get 80 grand a month, 100 grand a month, and all this shit. And then I was like, whoa. Like, and then all of a sudden I was like, fuck, I hit it.
Now
And
what?
then I took the foot off the gas.
Yeah.
And then
Because you just didn't know what to do next, and that's what happens to
Then I
most
was
people,
like,
right?
yeah.
That's why we get stuck.
Yeah, so I didn't freaking, and then a couple more deals came to me later in the year, and then I was just like, I took the foot off the gas. I stopped, I was like, whoa, and I was like, took it easy. I stopped making the calls, that, and I just chilled the rest of the year. I could have fucking crushed 500, that year, but I didn't because I just took the foot off the gas. So that was one thing that I realized after that. And then actually when I got the award that following March or April, walking the stage, because it's based on the calendar year, and then the award ceremonies a few months later. So when that happened, I walked the stage and it wasn't anything like I pictured. I was like, at the end of it, I was like deflated. I was like,
I wish you said it into the mic.
yeah, I didn't feel anything, right? So I was like, that's it. I was like, I didn't feel fulfilled. And then I was like, now what do I do? And then I didn't set another big goal like that or anything like that. It was just like, it felt unfulfilling.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It's kind of like negative feedback almost. Like I achieved it, but then it wasn't fulfilling when I actually walked the stage. It was like, that's it? Now what? So what?
Yeah. It never is, because it's like when I got to my first 100K month, I was like, oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah. So then?
It's always the on the journey there that's the most fulfilling.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then what do you do in that, like...
Set another goal.
You have that awareness that it's not the goal and that it's the journey, so make the journey fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Make it a long journey, very long journey.
Set a bigger goal and
Just make it basically make it interesting.
But you have to set a goal. Like
Yeah.
you needed a goal to visualize.
Yeah.
Totally.
But then what's the next goal? Like
Forget about that. Just
You'll know, you'll know. Like, whenever
just go to this immediate.
I didn't care after that. It was just like I didn't
Yeah.
give a shit because it wasn't about the money for me.
Yeah,
You
then-
know what I mean? Like
then
the money was fucking
Go
great,
towards that thing,
Like, it
that
felt
wants
good.
recognition. Tap into that. Own that.
But what does that look like for me now?
Well, maybe it
Because
could
I
be
haven't been able to figure out what that
the
recognition
testimonials
looks
client give you. Like when clients rave about you and how do you change their lives.
And how do you get those testimonials? Like, do they
Give them
you
great
ask
results.
them for
yeah,
it?
yeah. Give them great results and then ask them for it.
Is that what you do?
And then do an interview with them.
We're doing it today. Watch you show you how it's done today.
Yeah.
We're doing interviews today.
We're doing interviews today?
We sure
What do you mean?
Yeah, we're probably gonna do it later on after 5 p.m. I got like a little video camera and then we're just gonna go around do like a little maybe 2-3 minute. I just ask you what was
Okay.
your experience like? How'd your life change? Biased questions like that.
How'd your life change?
Yeah.
So
What do you love most
when you were
about it? What do you
coaching,
love most
Yeah.
so when you were coaching one-on-one,
Yeah.
you would just at the end of the 6 weeks or whatever, you would
Yeah.
ask them
Yeah.
for, can you give me a testimonial? You just
No, I'd be like, hey, would you mind sharing? I'd just send them a template of hey, would you mind making a short video? This would be really helpful. I just got started. It would be really helpful for me as a starting coach. I'd also love your honest feedback. What was your life like before? What was it like during? What was it like after? Highlights of any results or any particular
and
thing
would
you'd like
send
to
this
share.
to them by email? Or
Yeah, text, email, whatever, however you communicate with them.
email,
Messenger.
or on your last coaching call, you could ask them.
Sure. Or you could ask them like, hey, would you mind if I do an interview with you? I'll give you a free coaching call in exchange for it. Something like that.
So that's the recognition that I could focus on as like the vision, because I
Yeah.
had that vision of walking that stage and hugging, all these.
You can
brokers
you can have the vision of being the number one realtor coach or whatever, and being recognized as that, and like feeling that, hey, I have the biggest subscriber base. This is Sohail SD coaching is the number one.
Yeah.
You can own it, son.
And then, but I need a specific scene. Like that was a specific.
You just
scene.
got to think about it.
Yeah.
Think about like what resembles recognition in this space. What could? And then you go around and you see other people, like who got recognition in this space? Tony Robbins, maybe.
Could be the 2 Comma Club award, and
Could be, yeah.
hugging Russell Brunson
Could
on
be.
stage.
Definitely. Yeah.
Fucking did it.
Yeah.
Sup, bro?
I never really cared about that. Like
Yeah.
I should have gotten my 2 Comma Club award like 4 years ago, but I just never like applied for it or anything. No. No, I was like, oh fuck, I have to go somewhere and get some fucking award, and like, what am I gonna do with this? It's just like,
What's your driver? Is it money or recognition? Do you know?
the being exceptional, just being like the best, the
So
number
it's not
one.
the actual money.
No. Well, it's like in terms of money, it would be like making the most money out of everyone, or making like just being number one. Like competition is my number one driver. In whatever I do, I just want to be the best and like beat everyone and like have like the highest.
Right. And what do you guys know what yours is?
Mine is very similar to Quazi's. I mean, we were fucking born on like the same day. So it's like I have,
No, did you do the Clifton strengths? I would definitely
I did that.
recommend.
I did
What's your number one strength?
mine is futurist.
Futurist?
I really like to like think about the future and like achieve a high potential. So I remember like when I got started in the books.
Yeah.
I remember doing like keyword research in the beginning, trying to like scope out my competition.
Yeah.
And I remember like in the niche that I got into, I remember saying like I'm gonna be a niche leader. Like I'm gonna dominate everyone here because like nobody is gonna do a better job than me at like publishing books, like a good title,
Yeah.
good cover, good description.
So yours is like
Good
competition
content.
too.
Yeah. I remember in the beginning it was like, now not so much, but like when I got started, it definitely was. Like I was seeing everyone else, and I was kind of like exaggerating their flaws and kind of like attacking that so that I can, have the upper hand, so that like my book is always top of like everyone else's, and that's what it ended up being. Like if you look up my book, or like my keyword, it's the top books.
What about you guys?
Mine has changed, but right now I feel like it's impact. And another thing that comes up is just like honoring the fucking legend that I know that I am, and not letting my fucking mind ever get in the way. That's a huge motivating factor for me. So whenever I notice limiting beliefs, I know they're not fucking real. So I always feel super inspired to go that direction, but impact for sure. And just knowing that I'm fucking awesome. So I have to acknowledge that and act accordingly.
Mine would be freedom and independence. Moving to Italy. It's always been my
Cool.
It's always been my thing ever since I went. When I was 15, there was I have to be here. So
Which part?
that's a very good question.
Yeah.
I'm thinking by the Amalfi Coast now, but I know that I cannot leave this earth until I'm living there. And if I die,
You're
or
gonna
when
die
I
there.
die, my ashes will be there, one way or the other. We're going to Italy.
We're going ahead.
One way or the other, we will be there. So
All right. I think a good exercise now would be if we all like write down this core thing that drives us. And you can do that if you look back into your life when you've accomplished something. What was that thing that really got you going? Was it recognition? Was it competition? Was it being the best? And just like maybe writing like a short paragraph of what it felt like, and the thing that you were looking at the most, the feeling that was driving you.
Do you think it changes?
Definitely. People evolve, it changes, but it takes on like, it takes, I believe it's like a similar color though.
Yeah.
It's like similar shades of color, but it may change, but it doesn't like go from competition to being like empathy and like, being Mother Teresa and just helping people for free or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think it also is like, let's say if it's money,
Yeah.
right? But then at some point you reach like a limit of money, kind of like you're like, oh, I'm good now, and then it changes to impact. I think, you know what I mean. Now it's not about you and your family and all that. Then it's like, oh, I got that. now how do I impact other people,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So
I think something that I've like become aware of myself is like I want to fulfill my potential, and in fulfilling my potential is how I impact other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You becoming the best self allows you to serve others in a higher capacity.
Thing you can do for other people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's
But I
take
think,
like a few
you
minutes
know,
to do that.
I think behind recognition for me is being loved, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like maybe I didn't get the love from my parents, and and I had 3 younger siblings, and they were always the priority because they were younger.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like on my own, like like they always needed more attention than I did. So I was neglected or abandoned emotionally, or you know what I mean. And my dad had his own shit, so he couldn't give me what I needed. So I think it's love underneath recognition, to be quite honest, And recognition is a form of love.
Do you
Being
have
recognized
to, do
by
you have
others,
to do
it's like,
anything?
oh, I'm getting love from other people.
Do you have to do anything to be like worthy of love?
Yeah, I guess I feel like I do. And I know intellectually or logically that's stupid. You know what I mean?
Very fucking stupid.
And like you said, it's like the standard you come from. You're perfect, whole, and complete, like
Yeah.
as you are,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I don't have, right? Which is where I don't come from. Like you would just assume that to be true
Yeah.
for yourself.
Yeah. And you can
Whereas
too.
I don't. It's like how you started this and saying, it's like you're not good enough, damaged, and need to be fixed.
Yeah. So that's why
Because I
we
wasn't
always.
loved.
But that's what we believe because of the standards. We believe we're damaged because we believe someone else or something else, the Ken doll or the Barbie doll, is perfect. That's the standard we should aspire to, that magazine standard.
Yeah.
But then we forget that we're all individual and different. We're all a Ken doll and a Barbie doll, but in a different way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different standard. It's like apples to oranges, you can't compare them. So that's why when I talk about different people's strengths, it's just like everyone's perfect. The only difference between people who are crushing it and who are not is they are self-aware to know what their strengths are, what their not so strong points are, and how to use them, how to channel them in different ways. If I were to go into like an art career or something, or become like a volunteer or something, I'd suck. I'd suck because there would be not enough motivation for me to do something. I'd just be like, or if I went into that engineering career, I'd just be like, fuck, it's like I'm fighting against myself every day.
See, that's why I didn't go into
you
engineering
imagine?
either.
Yeah.
It's like this big fucking suck.
Yeah.
It's not me.
Yep. I'm gonna use the restroom real quick. Another big realization I had recently was like a lot of people who get ingrained in the massive action culture is like they value like, and I used to do that a lot. We value like, as long as I'm doing my best, right? We're like, as long as I'm doing my best, it's fine. And then you just grind hard and you take massive action and just keep burning yourself down to the ground. And then if you don't do that, then you feel guilty. But the best thing to do is to focus on, again, the resoluteness to have. I'm not gonna, doing my best doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to have that thing. Sometimes doing less means I might have that thing. So I learned that from playing golf. It's like when you're doing something like putting or something, you have to get so reactive to everything because you're collecting feedback, your subconscious is collecting feedback. Then when you get up to the ball, you just look at the hole, you look at the ball and you let it go. That's it. You don't think, right? But then some people, when they play golf, they're like, oh, as long as I'm doing my best, I'm reading the putt, I'm doing all of those calculations, I'm consciously thinking about every single number, what the slope is. Those people are the ones who fail at putting.
And who
Because,
hate it along the way.
yeah, because their mindset is, as long as I'm doing my best, I'm going to try, I'm going to really focus, clench up, So those are and then the guy in the book, he was talking like, when he was advising those people, the people would be like, yeah, as long as I'm doing my best, I'll be able to sleep at night. And the coach was like, I didn't know we were here to not feel guilty. I thought we were here to make some putts. So sometimes the best thing you can do is just let go. And we're always optimizing for what we want. Or what we've decided to have, not what we've decided to do. You see what I mean? So sometimes we get lost in that doing. We're like, as long as I'm doing my best, I won't feel guilty at night. That's like fucking bullshit, right? You got to focus on like optimizing for what you want to have. And sometimes the way you have is by doing less and getting out of the way.
How do you notice like when you're forcing something to happen and when you're not forcing it to happen?
Frustration, rush, frustration. Come on. That feeling, You're forcing it. When you get out of the way, it's like, oh, it happened? Didn't even realize. Oh, look, it's happening. That's great. It's like with my golf game. I was sucking. I was like, come on, why am I not improving? Why are my scores not improving? One day I just like playing. Oh, this is fun. This is fun. Oh, wow. I'm 5 over par only? Damn. I shot past my handicap. That's insane. How'd that happen? Just feels so much ease, so natural. That's why I love playing golf. Like for me, it's just like for someone like me who thinks about mindset the way I do, it just makes more sense to have it in application. Then I can extract more lessons that I can transfer to life.
I definitely, that was actually a really good one, how do you move to forcing?
Yeah.
Because I find myself frustrated a lot, you know, and it's just like, okay, I'm forcing it. But speaking of force, Quazi, I actually, when you talk about your why, I guess, of not being mediocre,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if I talked about it with the boys or not, but I had this realization, I think it was this week, it was between this week and last week of my why, and I think part of it was trying to force a why to make a difference in other women's lives or take my story to help other women, when truly all I want to do is write in cafes in Italy. Like, my why is me, right? But there was a part of me that thought that it was I want to say a superficial why, because I'm not married, I don't have children, I don't have, like, if someone says, like, my why is my wife and my kids, or my why.
Yeah, you're lying to yourself then, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like when you tell yourself, like, I should impact, I should want this.
Right.
You're lying to yourself.
When the why is like, really, I just want to go to Italy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think your why is that, but also something to do with like what you felt when you left the house, right? At 20, and you're doing the job and you had like a crippling like thing to like, you know, it's do or die. I gotta do it. And then those feelings that you felt, it's like a mixture of that, right? Like that independence thing that you talked about. So like, I think that like, if it were me, I would say that that's more closer to your why.
Yeah, because for me, it's one of those. I always felt like everybody powered over me. Like I had no say, I had no voice, I had no whatever. And so like, even like my mother and like they were divorced when I was growing up, but there was always a sense of control and not allowing me to be me. I was always wrong. I always had to do what they said. And
Right.
everything was just wrong. And so there is a part of like, no one will ever control me again.
Yeah.
No one will ever power me again. I will never be in bondage, or I will never be where whatever that feeling was.
Yeah.
It's like I have sovereignty, you know, over myself.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that is kind of like that is a driver as well. Like, no one will ever lord over me.
Yeah.
Ever. I think just having that realization of like I am my why, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm.
Your whys are selfish. It has to be selfish. It can't be like, it's your why.
Yeah.
And you can't be afraid, like a lot of people are afraid to be selfish. I'm proud to be selfish. I'm the most selfish human being on the earth. Fuck yeah.
I was about to say that, like, you can't be afraid of being selfish.
Right.
Yeah, people tell me like, oh, you're so selfless making all these videos. Yeah. I don't give a fuck about making these videos. I'm doing it for me.
Yeah.
I'm helping these people for me.
Yeah.
I don't care about these people. I care about me and helping these people for me.
Damn, that makes me feel a lot better, because sometimes I think that. And it's like,
because you're not owning it, right? You're like, oh man, that's bad to like want for me. Selfishness is bad, because we hear some stuff from society and it's like, whoa, fuck, that's bad. I don't care. Yeah.
Sometimes I'll like say it out loud, like in my house, like, oh, I just want to make so much money, and like.
Fuck yeah.
Like my fucking brother always goes like, that's all you think about. You don't think about the people. And I'm like,
fuck the people.
yeah, fuck the people.
I don't care. I want to make a shit ton of money.
Oh my god, this is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're trapped, right?
Don't
By
exist, man.
People
They're
don't
reflections of you anyways.
yeah.
Right?
Some egotistical mastermind. Like everyone's just like everyone just has a mirror and like jerking off to themselves. It's like, yeah, I'm so great. It's like American Psycho.
Let's go.
Oh my god.
I love that.
So good.
Your self-image levels are about to be like, shut up.
That's so good.
For sure.
Yeah, that's why I say like instead of putting up pictures of other people in your self-mastery guide, just put up pictures of yourself. That's what that's what mine is. It's like if I'm at my greatest, like what's the greatest Quazi? My mentor is my highest self. The greatest Quazi is coming down to this Quazi and is giving him instruction.
All the time.
I
Russ says in a song. It's like
That's why I made that one.
I talk to myself to get expert advice.
Yeah. And that's why one time I did this post like on YouTube. It was like worship yourself, and people bugged out. They're like, "Oh my God, you are lost." Some Muslim dude was like, "You're lost. You only worship God and Allah. Like you don't worship yourself." I'm like, dude, you don't get it.
At the bottom,
You don't get it.
At the bottom of the comments.
Yeah. Dislike.
I love that.
Just realize something. So it's like I said recognition's my driver, and the reason I want recognition is because I want to be loved,
Yeah.
and that's just an expression. Recognition is an expression.
You want to be celebrated. You want that attention because you lack that.
Because that makes me feel loved.
Yeah.
So love is underlying that, but what's even deeper than that, I think, is that because I feel I wasn't loved or I need to be fixed or something's wrong with me, that therefore I wasn't loved, therefore I wasn't recognized or whatever, right? So it's like, so the deepest root that I've gotten to at this point, I thought it was recognition, but now I realize it's love, but it's even deeper than love. And it's exactly how you started this whole thing by saying, you're coming from a standard or a place of being something's wrong with me or needs to be fixed. So I have to change the belief at the deepest root that I've gotten to, at least, which is I'm whole, complete, and perfect the way I am right now.
Yeah.
Because that is what's underlying and driving me, which is why I need a coach, I need a mentor, I need courses, I need to read more.
You don't need none of that shit. You don't need none of that shit.
Exactly.
Like if you believe you're perfect and not everything's gonna like the right coaches will show up and you'll feel compelled to work with them and you'll know this is what you need in the next stage of your journey, right? And that the reason we're here today is because that's what's happening. But if you keep fighting that, you're like, no. This is great coaching course, but I'm still damaged, so I still need something to fix it.
Yeah.
What's that next thing that I need to fix it?
Exactly. And that's that shiny object
Yeah,
syndrome.
it's like the answer is literally under your nose, but you block it because of your own stories that you keep telling yourself. You're like, no, this can't be it. It can't be this easy.
And I keep looking to fix myself because
Yeah.
something's wrong with me.
That's the
So-
trap with mindset, by the way. Like, I was going to literally begin with saying, like, you have no mindset problem. You keep telling yourself you have a mindset problem. Like, that's what used to happen to me. Like, the more you keep telling yourself you have a mindset problem, mindset is like that. It's whatever you believe to be true. Whatever you look at and you're like, this is true, then that's what's happening. You have no mindset problem. You're just focusing on the wrong thing, which is I have a mindset problem. Instead of, what is the person in front of me? Can I solve that problem?
Yeah.
Can I just reacting? Don't think, react, right?
So like even like I've got a health coach and a doctor and whatever, 2 doctors and I need to fix my gut. I need to do this and do that. Like
Because you believe you're damaged.
I think you said something in a video that was like that resonated a lot. It was like think less about yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like all the worries go away.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about what's outside.
Before I can even get to that though, of thinking of
Don't
others.
think less of yourself, think less about yourself.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
think less of yourself, think less about yourself.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. But I think it's creating that belief that I'm whole, complete, and perfect the way I am.
Not even a belief. It is just seeing that this is true. Belief means that there's room for like disbelief.
Right.
Knowing means how can this like you don't believe in this phone right here, do you? You see it and you know that it's there.
Right. There's no belief.
There's no room for belief here. Because belief means there's room for doubt.
Yeah.
There is no room for doubt that you're perfect. Because how can you not be? Because if there's one Sohail made in existence, this is the standard for Sohail. This is my standard for my own unique self. I am perfect, right?
Yeah.
But it's only when you compare yourself to like, oh, this is who I should be. I shouldn't have any doubt. I shouldn't have any fear. Fuck, I am not perfect. I should be that. That is the standard.
Yeah. So I'm always chasing.
Yeah, this has to be the
Always
standard.
a gap.
This is the standard, right? This is perfection,
Yes.
not that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Knowing that I'm perfect the way I am.
Yeah. You just know it. Like,
Just know that.
but it's like,
Just like-
there's no room for doubt there when you see like there's only one unique Martini, one unique Drew, one unique Sohail. There is no room for doubt there because there can be not another copy or duplicate of you.
So I'm not trying to be like Quazi or Drew or whatever.
No.
Because
No.
then that's comparison. because then
You can take qualities that you like from other people. That's different. You can take qualities. Yeah. But this is complete and perfect and can be shaped the way that I want, that I'm choosing.
There's only one
This character, yeah.
There's only one Sohel, and that Sohel is perfect,
Yep.
as is.
Yep. Just learning how to use Sohail to achieve what Sohail wants.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that's the foundation. That's the base. And work on that.
We're good?
I'm done.
Complete? Perfect. Love to hear it.
You can wrap up this whole thing again. I'm good. Wrap it up,
To
Quazi.
summarize, there's no mindset problem.
There is no mindset. That's why I don't like to talk about mindset anymore, at least not like at more of a higher level, because when you get started off, it's great. But like even most of the program, it's literally not about mindset. It's more about like, hey, you're focusing on some technique to fix yourself when you're already good. You got to focus on principles of how life works and balancing things out and understanding yourself. So that's why when we did stuff on clarity, it solved a lot of your problems. You're like, oh, now I see it. Now I can go out and do my outreach and my calls. I feel more confident. Yeah. Confidence comes from clarity, right? When you get clear on, oh, okay, this is how the 6-figure offer works. So it's just like whenever you feel unconfident, you always got to think about like, what am I unclear about? What is unclear to me? Let's define the uncertains and see what we can get started off with. That's how I do it. You know, it's like, what am I uncertain about here? Yeah.
So let me just ask you, so if I start knowing, not even believing, or believing I guess leads to knowing, if I start believing I'm perfect the way I am, then the fear is that my wife or anyone is going to say, you're egotistical, like we touched upon, and how do you know that you're perfect and not become egotistical and arrogant and all that?
Because you think being egotistical and being arrogant is bad. Other people think when you love yourself, that's being egotistical and being arrogant. You change the definition of that. You say, no, I am egotistical and I am arrogant. But I know I have good intentions. I know I want the best for my family. That's how you check yourself, right? Do I still want the best for my family?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I want what's best for my kids?
Yeah.
So is it bad to be an egotistical, selfish parent who wants the best for their kids and their family?
No.
Yeah, when you fully do love yourself, that you can't even, like the opposite could never even reside in that state. You can't wear two different hats, per se.
Say it again.
Like when you're really fully embodied in the I love myself and I'm complete, the doubt can't even creep into this new state. You can't wear two hats.
Let me ask you this. Do you think good people suffer the most or do bad people suffer the most?
Good people.
Good people suffer the most, right? Because they suffer their fucking conscience.
Yes.
Because they keep saying like, oh, is this the right thing to do? Is it the bad thing to do? Bad people are just like, fuck it. Let's do this.
Yeah.
They do bad things. They pay the price for it. But they're like, fuck it. Did what I wanted to do. And they don't suffer. They don't suffer their conscience. It's when you keep judging yourself, you're like, oh no, am I really egotistical? I got to check myself. Like, no. You're fine, perfect, egotistical. Let them call whatever they want to call you. You just know that deep in your heart, you have the best intentions for people around you. That's how you balance yourself out, right?
And how did you develop this? Egotistical, arrogant, perfect.
How did I develop it?
Yeah, like what did you do to develop that in yourself? Tactics, strategies.
I just stopped looking, like I think one of the best things I did was get off Instagram or like Facebook or social media, and I just stopped looking at that shit. And I stopped looking at other people. Like even when I go to the gym and I see someone who's buff or something, I never want to be like them. I'm like, nah, I'm perfect. Fuck that. Fuck looking like that. That's great and all, but like I don't want to, I'm perfect just the way I am. They would probably want to look like me. They're probably on steroids and they have like heart problems or whatever. Like I'm just biased like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just look at, I would never want to trade my life and what I have with anyone else. I don't care who you are. You could be billionaire Elon Musk or something. I never in a million years I would want to trade my life with anyone else's. You want to get to that point where you would never want to trade your life with anyone else's. My life is fucking perfect today, just the way it is. And how I feel inside, I would never trade it for anyone in the world. Not even like the most enlightened guru. Don't care. Not interested. Yeah, it's like that level of self-love, you just get to it when you take care of yourself, when you get to know yourself, you spend time with yourself, you stay in silence. You just begin to love yourself, right? Like you can only develop self-love if you spend time with yourself without judgment and just like watching it, observing it, and then experimenting with it, pushing it. You stop identifying with the body and you just see that this is a body. Let's take care of this temple. You put good food in it. Because when I look at other people, I'm like, they're putting shit in their body and they're doing like shit things. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not sleeping well. I'm like, fuck, why would I want to be that? Why?
But don't you have a judgment about them?
Yeah, sure. I don't judge my judgments.
You don't judge your
No.
judgments?
I'm fucking judging them hard. I'm not judging myself for judging them.
No?
It's what it is.
Okay.
Everything just
It's
is.
okay to judge?
It's okay. It's okay to be egotistical. It's okay to judge.
There's no guilt around judging people?
No.
Why?
Why should there be? This is happening naturally. I'm not choosing to judge. It's just happening. And until I get to a state of consciousness where I don't judge, then I'm going to keep on judging. And that's okay. Everything's okay. Everything,
This is the idea.
full acceptance of everything that is exactly as it is. Full acceptance. This moment is perfect. This has to happen. Because you know that when you get to that thing, you're not going to be happy anyways. It's not going to make a difference.
No, true.
And I've done that enough in my life to know that, to achieve a lot of things where I know that there's no point. So this moment is perfect then.
This is the mindset I need. This is the...
You'll get there. You just got to spend some like...
This is the belief. This is
Because what we do is we spend time outside, like looking for the next resource, the next book, the next coach. Have you spent some time with yourself, just like looking in, just doing nothing and just like looking at what thoughts are coming up and just watching them without judgment? You know, that's what I do. Like my meditation is just that. What's coming up? There is a watching of that. There is judgment. There is this sick, twisted thought of fucking murdering someone for being an asshole. That too is being watched. There is no judgment of that. Everything is just being watched, right? You just become like a cloud of just consciousness that's just watching everything. And then you feel compassion for other people too from that place. You understand when someone is late or like someone is pissing you off. Maybe they're going through a tough time. Maybe something's happening in their lives. That too is being watched. Everything is watched. Even the compassion. This feeling is also being watched. There is a feeling. Everything is just complete. Like that's the method of inquiry, right? Self-inquiry by Nisargadatta Maharaj. I learned that from my buddy Sunny. He does personal mastery quest. He talks about self-inquiry a lot. So it's just like literally full, complete acceptance and just staying as awareness and watching it all. No judgment, nothing. And spending most of my time in that state. So it's just a balance of staying as awareness and embodying an identity. Embodying an identity helps you function in this material world. Staying as awareness helps you transcend physical world. So it's just balancing that so you never get stuck. You choose to embody someone based on what you want and what you want to experience. And then when you don't, then you step away from that and you just simply stay as watching.
So like a meditation is a practice or something.
Yeah, that's like a way of living. Just watching everything and accepting it. You don't even have to sit down and meditate to do that. You can just, whatever you're doing, you can just watch that and see everything.
Without judgment.
Exactly. Because our immediate reaction to whatever comes up, the judgment that comes up, oh, why am I judging? This is so bad. Judgment is bad. Oh, why did I think that thought? That's so bad. There's a judgment and a reaction to that. Instead,
So that's one practice that can be done daily. What else?
Yeah.
Any other?
that's pretty much all I do. Like, I went from doing body bending yoga and all sorts of shit, breathing exercises to just watch. Everything is perfect as it is. All is arising.
I am perfect as I am.
All is arising in consciousness. All is dissolving in consciousness. It's all watched.
This is a paradigm shift. This is it. Like this is the goal. This is exactly this is what
Just practice that watching for long enough. It'll just you'll just break through into like a world where everything is just, it's so calm and peaceful. Even all of the conflicts that arise, that is allowed to happen. Doesn't mean problems won't happen.
whether it's the wife or negative comments online.
Yeah,
whatever.
sure. This too will pass. That's happening. That's watched. The feeling that's arising, the anxiousness, that is watched as well.
I'm perfect. I just have an armor. I don't let it affect me.
You're going to get to a point where there is no me.
Than anyone else's.
There is no me. There is no me. There just is this character. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope that was valuable for you. If you are interested in joining our Transcendence Mastermind, you'd like to inquire about it, you'd like to have a conversation with someone, I do these interviews personally. So what you can do is click down below this video. There's going to be a button. You can click on it, fill up a short survey, and we'll see if it's a good fit. If it is, I'll schedule an interview with you and we'll have a one-on-one conversation about your goals, if we can help you achieve a 7-figure coaching business. This is for only business owners and entrepreneurs who have their own coaching, consulting, information business, and they're currently making around 20K a month. They're at low 6 figures and they want to achieve 7 figures. The core focus here is we help coaches, consultants, and high-ticket info business owners get to 7-figure bliss like I have done with my business using YouTube Organic, learning how to make a YouTube machine that churns out clients month after month so you don't keep struggling with getting leads and leads just come to you. You have built an evergreen system. I've done this for myself and we're helping our clients in the Transcendence Mastermind do this, and I hope I get to help you do this as well if it's a fit. So click on that button to apply and I hope I get to see your application. Thanks.